Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Smith, Joey Jones are here for a new NSL live talk. And I'm so grateful and excited because we are down to a three-way now here on Zoom, but from 6 ways, 7 ways, and whatever we had in the past, but it's high quality, a high quality three-way. And I'm excited to talk about all the stuff that is going on. But let me once do a proper introduction with you, because I've written about it so many times about your achievements and where you're coming from, your experience and all this stuff. But let's do it once in person so people really know who you are and where you're coming from. So Gary on the top left. Because you are two of the most experienced and four-way competitors, eight-way competitors, coaches in the history of the sport. So it's good if people know that once, see that once. Gary Smith, top left, world champion of 2004 and 2006 with the DLAN teams, Magic and Fire. You started earlier in South Africa, bronze medal in '97. Joey on the bottom, world champion in four-way in 2004, together with Gary. You were teammates in
peace partner. Yeah, peace partners.
Peace partners. So super exciting. And then eventually you turned into the coaching area. Gary actually not actively competing, training much any longer. Joey, yes, right? Eros is still up for. We talk about this later. And then both of you also have a history with the world champions right now. You both helped to bring Hayabusa, the Belgians, to where they are now. First Joey as coaching the team, then Gary.
The first was actually Doug Park. Doug was their first coach, who was our inside center from Magic. So the team Magic has a pretty close ties to the Hayabusa team in general. I took over in the middle, and then Gary took it home, and he's still taking care of it. So it's great.
And right now we could talk probably for hours. Once again, we have on Zoom on my account, I have only the 40 minutes. We could talk for hours about all the things that happened in those 20, 30 years we've known each other and that you've been in the formation skydiving competition world. But let's try to keep it at least only to the contemporary events which are going on, which are most exciting. So you're shaking your head.
Well, it creates a lot of problems. Like I know the USPA acted quickly and states that Rhythm will stay the national team, but man, it puts airspeed in a long wait now for them to be able to get back on track and do anything. So basically, next year's nationals is worthless.
This
year is coming up. And what about the teams that qualified for the World Cup that has now been moved a year back? So this next year's nationals becomes it's a shame for some of the teams, like Airspeed and even Eros, who was hoping maybe to come, and because I don't know how many more years I'm going to be following in Smitty's footsteps. My neck's starting to hurt. Those 250 jump years that Eros is throwing at me, I'm like, oh, okay, not a problem. Got this.
I'd be perfect. Hey, Lena.
Hey, Lena.
It puts us old guys on a 3-year plan now for another national world meet, and I don't know if I have 3 years in me, but luckily the Airspeed guys are a little younger. But that was just one of my thoughts.
But we don't know yet what BPA. I mean, I don't know if anybody noticed, but yesterday I spoke with NFTO, and they said that BPA has not made the decision yet. If this year is going to be the qualification for next year or not. There's a meeting coming up in May. USPA has decided, as you said, Joey. So that is already in place. But all the other countries, they still have to make up their minds how they want to handle it.
Yeah.
What do you see, Gary? I mean, what have you heard? What do you know?
Much the same as Joey, really. I would say on the airspeed front, I don't think they've lost too much, in the sense that even if the world meet if the Mondial did take place this year, Airspeed was only on track for a 2022 anyway. Yes, they could have maybe done a World Cup, but their meet's going to be 2022. So now that they have to train 8-way, it depends how much Nicholas and Mikhail can commit to them. So they might lose a little bit, but their meet will still be 2022. It's just a case how much, when will Nicholas and Mikhail quit the 8-way?
Yeah.
And could they train? But on the BPA front, I think it's similar to, I don't know, Germany, Holland, Sweden, what they're doing. But I would not be surprised if the BPA run it. The team that wins the nationals this year should go.
To push it back 1 year. Okay.
In my side looking at it, because I can see in the USPA side, Rhythm wants to keep going. Although, will Jeanette come back in? Will Drew stay out? That's going to be the question. Will they replace? Airspeed's not 100% ready at this stage.
That's true.
So, but for any other country, for the UK, which team would go in anyway? NFTO will still go in the female category. Then it's a case of Chimera. Are they going to continue? Will they stop if you keep pushing it back? Or do you just have a nationals and say whoever wins goes?
The problem is I don't know when any of us are going to get to train. I mean, everything's That's the other thing we got going on. Is like you start it running into June, July, and then you make it a selection year. That seems also unfair to. I mean, as much as I would love to have another selection year because we lost last time, it doesn't seem like it's almost fair to put us under a super short year and make another selection year. Although it goes against what would be best for my team. It's another thing I thought about. It's a real tough situation, huh?
Yeah, I mean, making a decision, it's a difficult decision for no matter who is involved, whether it's I'm sure it was a tough decision for ISC, FAI, now Kanai, to cancel it. Then it is now a tough decision for the org federations, to decide which qualification mode they're gonna do. And then it's tough for all the teams who are involved because some have plans and they're all changed now. So it's tough for everybody. What can you say? It couldn't be any tougher.
Certain decisions will benefit one team, but they'll hurt another one. So it's like I would hate to be on a federation level right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions. I have to say, in all honesty, we only can talk about this, but I mean, everybody is somehow involved. Now, my job is gone by now, basically, except for this. There are no events at this point in time. So, you are not coaching at this point in time, so everybody is directly somehow impacted by this whole thing. All of us. We're all in the same boat, some more, some less. But, luckily we don't have to make the decisions. We don't make money right now, but at least we don't have to take responsibility for decisions.
I mean, for me, the way I see it is that, even if, for example, we have to have a meet and all of a sudden we'll say it's a little bit unfair because the US teams got to train more, or the French, or whoever, the Swedes because they jump in again, or the Danes. I think our sport is so small that we have to look at the big picture and say, let's at least get our sport going. Let's have the meets. And if somebody wins something, then so be it. They have won. Maybe the conditions were not 100% fair, but and from our point of view, I think, so what? Let's just keep the sport going. Because if we try and make it fair for everybody, then we're never going to have a meet. Then we're going to say,
it's going to take a long time. The thing right now is if you leave England, you can't come back without doing a 14-day quarantine. And I don't know how long those travel restrictions are going to last in certain countries and around. And that's the fears right now of moving and traveling anytime into the summer. It's a lot of moving parts, huh?
Yeah,
and it's not going to be fair for everybody anyway. We are used to that because in our sport, all teams compete in the same category. So that the weekend recreational teams with 30 jumps per year, they're in the same category with Airspeed or Rhythm, who are full-time or pro. So it's impossible to bring it on an even level anyway, with the same training. So I would agree with Gary. Let's just take it as it is, and then but get the meets back so people can pack parachutes, people can do some coaching, people can fly the airplanes and all that kind of stuff. So if it's possible, sensibly possible.
We definitely would like to get it back on the rails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think I agree with Joey. In Europe, it's going to be a little bit tougher than in the US. With the US, you can travel, I'm guessing, state to state eventually, and the drop zones will be open, and the US will be training and jumping. But inside Europe, I don't know if we can go to the Czech Republic and come back out without having to go into quarantine. So hopefully that disappears in the next 2 months, and we're back to. And I'm positive now things are going quicker here. But let's hope that there's no resurgence or a spike in this graph, as they call it, the curve. But if we can keep things going, I think hopefully we can all of a sudden start to travel again.
Yeah, it's for the international events where the difficulties are mostly. I mean, even here for the US teams, you can travel from state to state and all that.
Yeah.
But by the way, one decision I had to make actually, and I made it already too, because we will have a Shamrock Showdown next year, because next year was actually supposed to be an off year, so which means like an indoor year. Now it has become an outdoor year, which means we will. I was planning not to have a Shamrock on the off years, but now we will have a Shamrock Showdown.
It's a double door year, right?
Yeah.
Double door.
Yeah.
Which puts that's one thing with it also puts some pressure on the French team, because the Wemby, the team I've been working with, they've taken this year off to let the teams focus on outdoor, and there was a plan for that team to come back and go for the indoor next year. I don't know. I haven't spoken to them about what's going to happen to them, but I know the Federation was using the year's offset to move their talent to where they could best win medals, and then next year they were planning on moving some of the people that were on the outdoor teams to go back with Roy and Julian, but I'm not for sure if how that's going to go for them. So a lot of implications with it. Because now you've got, like I said, double door year. How do you train for that? Anyway, it's just
and then you have to weigh also what you just said, Joe. You mentioned France. Their goal is they want to win medals. That's their number one priority. That is not necessarily the case for everybody. The USBA decision was obviously not primarily based on winning medals, because in fact they probably reduced their chances to win medals. Because airspeed, was already. I mean, you mentioned earlier that airspeed may not be. Gary said airspeed may not be ready. At this point in time, no, they are not. But next year in 2021, they would be ready. So
but now they have to wait another year.
There's a big question mark, like the situation, Gary, both of you, the fact is that David says that he will step back anyway. So Hayabusa will come with a new lineup now.
Exactly.
Really? Dave's still going to step down.
Yeah. Which offers the opportunity for all other countries, whether it's Qatar, whether it's the US teams, to really catch up with Hayabusa a little bit. Now airspeed has the same lineup now. They started already in November.
They started strong.
Yeah, they started very strong at the Win Games. So they won the World Cup. They won the World Cup far ahead of Rhythm again. They won the Win Games, and now they're not the US team, which could possibly catch up with Hayabusa. So I fully respect the USBA decision, because there's more to it than just winning a medal. We're in the middle of a big crisis, but there are different ways how to weigh it. France, we're looking at the medals. USBA, well, we want to credit Rhythms. What do you think about this? I mean, is Hayabusa now in reach, or would they be in reach?
Well, I hope not. But no, of course you take Dave out. With Dave's experience in there, it's going to be hard to replace him, and we've discussed it as a group, and it's going to take them a couple of years to even think that they're back to where they are. Speed wise, I think they'd go, but when you go into it, Joey's on top of it, and when you go into that door, whether you're in the tunnel or in the aircraft, in a competition round, experience is key, is golden. You need the experience in there to run the whole thing, and Mikey's going to be stepping into some big shoes to try and pull it through. And so to answer it briefly, yes, they will be weaker right now than what they have been. And that strength of Hayabusa, it will still be there, but they will not be as consistent. There's no ways that they will be as consistent. You cannot just replace one member at that who's been in the team from the start in that slot and replace him with a newbie in that sense, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Dave's got some pretty big eyes on him after all those years in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got lizard eyes now. He can see all the both directions at the same time. You know, it takes a while in that slot to get those eyes that wide. So they're definitely going to be some weakness, but if they can train, you know, depends on how they. I mean, the other thing is, can they travel? Are they going to be stuck in Belgium because of lockdowns and quarantines? And the jumping season might suffer, the tunnel season. I mean, there's a lot of questions about how our travel is going to open up and what options they're going to have to go and get back up to speed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then look at rounds 1 through 4 at the Wind Games between Hayabusa and Airspeed. So Airspeed coming with that same lineup, you know, for the next, it would be a whole year. So I find it very interesting, actually, you know, how USBA. So let's discuss this a little bit more in that area. I think it's a very, very interesting decision. You know, there are many angles to it, and as we said earlier, who wants to make a decision?
I mean,
like
I'm sure.
this?
I would guess Airspeed would want to have another selection this year, even if they had to do the double duties and all that stuff. But I'm not for sure if the 8-way would be up for that. So who knows? I mean, there's so many things there as well. Would the 8-way want Airspeed to have another selection and then have to try to share time? That's, you know, maybe the 8-way is like, yeah, a lot of moving parts there as well that are hard to calculate. But I'm sure Rhythm's happy that there's not another selection, you know, because.
And they deserve it. I mean, it's so hard to say. I don't really know, you know, what to say. The Rhythm deserves it so much after working so hard, so long. They achieved their goal, you know, they deserve to go to a world meet, you know, and then this, you know. So are they going to be the strongest team next year? Probably not. You know, we'll see about this, but so it's so tricky. It's so tricky.
Yeah, but on the other side, we haven't. Let's go back to it. We haven't seen Airspeed and free falling. We've only seen them in the tunnel. And I would know with Hayabusa that if we put Mikey in the tunnel in Hayabusa, he'd fill Dave's shoes much quicker than what he's going to fill it in free fall. Because I think anybody can fly the tunnel at this level, right? Not anybody, but he could fill the shoes much quicker. But so Airspeed we've only seen in the tunnel, and those guys flew the tunnel a lot. Obviously with Nicholas and Mikkel, they did a lot of tunnel time before they came to Wind Games, where Hayabusa had only done 4 hours. So it was one of those that there's no excuse. Airspeed did fantastic, but I haven't seen him in free fall. And once you start to put things in free fall, then you might start to see the gaps. And that's what I'm saying, not with Hayabusa, but with Rhythm. Because Rhythm have jumped it a little bit more. But the problem with Rhythm is now what are they going to do with Drew? Does Drew go back to the Golden Knights? Are they looking for somebody else? So yes, that might weaken Rhythm again. But you do have 3 people that are in there. And Airspeed have only got Nicholas and Mikkel that know the slots, and they bring in 2 new guys. And so I still think free fall's a different ball game.
Yeah, but Joey is coming back from point. He was point already for R2G, you know, so he's a good and experienced point, goes back to the same slot. It's only Christopher now with a new slot.
And Airspeed's, I mean, historically been a bit weaker in the tunnel than they have in the outdoors, really.
Yeah.
You know, because let's face it, in the tunnel, they've been off the pace compared to Wemby and Hayabusa especially. And they really came and brought it in the tunnel. So who knows what they're going to do in the air. They have historically and they have great jumping support as well.
Very true.
They'll probably make the most, if they weren't doing 8-way, they would make the most jumps because they have Arizona. They have one of the greatest skydiving machines behind them. Right. And that's probably why they've been so good in the air, because they're making more jumps than all of the rest of everything.
Yeah.
But with 2 new guys and, you know.
And then the Rhythm situation is complicated too. You know, I mean, Andrew, he said clearly that he is only there for Tanai 2020, and that he will at this year's nationals, he will already be back with Golden Knights gold, now in 4-way. He will have to do the 8-way. Jeanette coming back, big question mark behind that. She said no because she wants to become a mother. So what are the options for rhythm? They would need a fourth. Who could be the fourth?
Yeah.
Let's go through the candidates. Airspeed is not available, that's for sure. I would say they need another substitute, most likely, unless. But I don't think it's even Andrew making that decision by himself. I guess the Army will tell him.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't think he gets to make that decision.
It's not up to him. He would love it. He loves 4-way. He would love to do it. I can say that. I think he would love to do it. But I don't think the Army will allow him to do it.
No, they need him back.
So rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, and he's the leader of that group. So he's the leader of the Army. There's no ways that I mean, in my eyes, there's no ways that he's going to continue with rhythm.
No, he can't really.
So what then? Now rhythm is 3. Airspeed will be 4 this year and next year. They have as you say, they have a plan until 2022. So there will be no change. Rhythm is a 3-way. Who is out there for me filling the slot?
In the US,
Joey, Gary, maybe Joey, maybe, or
no. I think you got to look at. They got to try and bribe Thiago. Get
Matt.
Thiago. Matt is in the 8-way.
Thiago is not going to do it. That's Thiago is not going to be
it's
there.
True. Thiago's not coming back.
No.
What about Chris Farina? I don't know. I don't even know if he's jumping. What Chris is up to.
He would probably jump into it tomorrow if they would ask him. I guess he is so passionate about it. Yeah, maybe. Is he up to date?
And what about the Ranch second generation? Didn't they have any more guys in there that could do it? I don't know them all. I mean, obviously.
Well, Michelle is in the 8-way. So.
Yeah, she's in the 8-way. So there's one other guy.
Maybe Michelle, because she's not doing well, she has a 4-way team now. They have a new female team.
Yeah.
It's Michelle, Gina.
But Michelle's in the 8-way, so that's not going to work.
She's in the 8-way. She has a new 4-way team, and that new 4-way team will be very strong too. They're not going to go to Tanai no matter what, because there's no qualification for them. And aviatrix, but it will be a very strong team. So Michelle, not an option either. She would be a center inside though.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it difficult for rhythm, but obviously, I mean, I'm sure they're on top of it. We know Steve and Jeanette have always found the people, and then obviously now with Doug and Andy, they got to try and work out what they're doing.
Yeah.
But now it's about medals. They asked Andrew because with him, obviously, they were strong, so they could compete with the Qatar Tigers. Now it's about medals. I mean, there's a possibility that they may not even get in the medal rankings if they don't find anybody. If they take a young kid, to begin to build up, they are the Tigers who are, they are. Yeah. So and
they got a good. It's good. I mean, it's. What do we got? The French team is, they're focusing on the 8-way, but they're a little bit
talent there.
Come up with Russians.
But we don't know yet what the French are doing at all. The French is a totally different scenario because it's not a national championship that is qualifying the teams. It's a coach, the federation, who decide this is what we're going to do. So we have no idea yet what France is going to do. Maybe they will focus on 4-way again, or maybe the 8-way. Who knows? We'll find out soon. Mathieu said that he will update us soon about when they know what they're doing. But they are also.
You need to have Mathieu on. You need to get Mathieu onto the Zoom chat so he can give us the updates with the French.
Yeah, he promised he will let us know, and maybe we'll get him on Zoom. He doesn't like to speak, that much. So and that that's perfectly fine. I totally respect this. But he is very open, and he is always giving you information if you're asking him. So I don't think we'll get him on Zoom, but he will let us know as soon as they have something. And you're in the middle of that too, Joey, because you've been coaching the French indoor 4-way team, right? You mentioned them earlier. So how's this? You said they were ready to come back soon.
Well, the plan was that let the outdoor teams finish the outdoor season and see how that plays out, And then from that, they would put a team together to go for the indoor world championships during the outdoor year. That was the plan. They didn't know, how it was all going to go together. But that's all up in the air now. I guess Matu will have the answers to that. I haven't been in contact with Julien or Roy so much about what the plans are with them, except that, yes, we want to start again next year, and great, cool, sounds great. I'm in, of course. But yeah, that puts a lot of pressure on a country like France, where it's not a selection and they have to decide how they're going to move their pieces, because they have a lot of good pieces, but do they have enough to put all those different teams together? Because they're not, they're a bit disjointed, and some of the, the indoor team is different people, and some of them aren't jumping because they're, semi-retired from the outdoor due to jobs and work and families and everything. So who knows what's going to happen with that? It's
double door in 2001.
Double door.
So that's another interesting aspect. I mean, it's we haven't really talked about this yet, and not taking it serious enough. It is very serious. The teams are so specialized these days with their training. There is really a kind of an indoor season, kind of an outdoor season. Now switching back between indoor. I mean, you're the experts, but those are becoming more and more two different worlds, indoor and outdoor competition.
Yes.
We said earlier,
it's really two different tech.
Yeah. So what does that bring to us? I think the indoor meet is scheduled again for April or something. The world meet.
Yes, in Slovakia.
And then the outdoor meet is May, June, July. Not even 4 months later is the outdoor competition. So how does that work?
Yeah, it kind of gives the teams doing both. Which a lot of it's the Swedish national team. A lot of the national teams do both.
Most
because
of
you
them.
can, but of course, for the teams trying to win, as Joey says, it kind of becomes more, you're either going to specialize indoor or you're going to specialize outdoors. And maybe it's not going to be this year, but I foresee, yes, I foresee in the future, especially if some of these younger kids come through and they only fly in tunnel or indoor, it's going to be hard to beat them, because if you're trying to win outdoors and indoors. And just with Hayabusa, it was a couple of hours ago, we had a meeting, almost a calendar meeting for 2021. And just looking at the meets that they want to do, it's an absolute nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare of where you're going to put your training in between the meets. You could go to so many meets and not train almost. So you have to start to go, which ones do you prioritize? And even then, like you said, Kurt, that was the biggest factor, is that the indoor and outdoor meet are actually quite close to each other. So you have to be training outdoor in November, December, January. Yeah, before you, and indoor, you have to almost just go, we'll do a couple of days a month and go. But that's not going to cut it eventually.
Let's talk about the indoor experts. We have the perfect example actually in 4-way women, right? I mean, I talked to NFTO yesterday. They do indoor, outdoor, as they have done in the past. But we have indoor experts, which are the the HF Cups.
Yes.
So they are really an indoor expert team, and they are 4-way women now. So they have another year now to get to the level where the French and the British team. Do you think they can make it? Can they get to the gold medal level as an indoor expert team for the indoor world meet in 2021?
Smitty?
Can they challenge? Can they challenge NFTO and the French 4-way team?
Of course. I mean, I think coaching. I'm not 100% sure who's in charge and who's coaching them.
David.
But
Dave's working with them part-time, I think.
Yes, that's the thing. And I don't know how much Dave will be able to do with them. So I think, yes, they fast. They do some incredible stuff. But eventually on the top level, even with the French, is going to be almost a question to Joey, but this will be almost to Mathieu. What do you do with the female team? That Nefties, will that team stay together or will they bring back the 2 girls and pair up Julien and Roy with somebody else? I don't know, to try and strengthen that Nefties team. So, I mean, those are things that I think Mathieu would obviously shed light on. But I mean,
Yeah,
to go back to the Czech girls, I think it's incredible to see. And I'm always a believer that the more stronger teams, that when you're not only watching 2 teams, but you're watching 4 or 5 possible gold medal contenders, fantastic for the meet.
yeah, it would be that with the French team. Did they bring in the old girls to strengthen their team, or do they send them back to the Wemby team? Is the question of what the French Federation feels they can get their most return on investment. And so who knows how that's all going to, that's the interesting part, how that's going to play out. But those Czech girls, I mean, they only have to focus on one thing, and they don't have to, they're like, miss the 10A getting canceled is a big, it's a big upset to our lives. For them, it doesn't mean anything. They're just, they're still training. They know they're going to go forward and train as soon as the tunnel opens again. And it gives them a focus advantage, at least, without being distracted by anything else. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how they do next year. And then
don't forget the French indoor junior team, which also they're competing already in AAA. They're on the same level where the Cups are. So that's a new generation. They're still eligible for junior this year, but they're already competing in AAA, and they are on the same level like the Cups. So they would be on a 30 average level easily next year, I would guess. The French junior team.
Yeah, the junior team. And it's how is the FAI going to get us off of this double door years again? At what point do we do back to backs? Because we had a good system. It was nice. You had a World Cup year and a World Championships indoor, and then you had a World Cup. They had it balanced, and now we're out of balance here, and then they have to find a way to get, jump the track somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we did that once in 2003, 2004, right? I mean, that's when they did exactly that.
That's when Schmitty did the Magic to Fire.
Yes, yeah. But
he was in Gera.
Yeah.
The lucky world meet.
Yeah, first it was from Gap to Rijeka. That's where
from Gap 2003, 2004.
Oh, yes.
And then they kept the rhythm from then on.
I had a question on has the World Cup been postponed in Vos next 20? So they have postponed the World Cup or not?
Yes, that's in 2022 now, which makes this makes it even more kind of interesting, if you can say so, for the USBA nationals, because this year's USBA nationals are basically, I don't want to say meaningless, because it's a competition for all teams in the USA, so it's never meaningless. It's a national championship, but it's not a qualification event for any FAI or ISC event in 2022.
But sorry, what I meant with the Vos meet, was it confirmed 2022 or was it 2023? 22 confirmed.
Yes.
Because that's what I thought. I thought maybe they would do Russia 21 and then Arizona 22 as planned. Outdoor. Because doesn't Skydive Arizona has the World Meet in 2022? I believe, didn't they bid on it?
I don't know. That's new to me. So I
thought in the meeting in January that Skydive Arizona bid for the World Meet in 2022. And it was confirmed as a bid, but then for me, I thought, well, that would be the switchover. They would delay Norway until 2023. But if they put it in 2022, then that shoots my theory out the window.
Yeah,
it doesn't really help much.
Yeah, very interesting. So, I mean, we have 5 minutes left, by the way. I cannot believe, that
time flies.
Time flies.
In this Corona time, that's pretty short.
Yeah, it's kind of a good thing, because I don't know how many people really want to listen to us for hours, but so I guess half an hour is sorry. We could do it. I mean, there are some fans, some passionate fans. I'm sure they would like to listen for hours, but I don't want to overstretch it now. But anyway, quickly, Gary, how is the situation in Qatar? Do we know anything from what's going on there?
No, well, they have limited numbers. Things look good for them. I mean, but they're in Ramadan now, and the bosses that we've had contact with have basically said they know nothing at this stage. We'll only be able to plan after Ramadan. So only at the end of May will we hear what if there's a chance to travel. But right now they're on the same. There's no travel, and if people are coming back into Qatar, you go into quarantine. So I couldn't even travel there if I had any military papers or anything. So
it doesn't really change much for them either, because Ramadan will come back next year at the same time. The world meets at the same time, so things are not changing at all. Joey, give us a quick idea about your era situation. I mean, you mentioned earlier 2 points behind last year, only behind Camera with the 4-way open class team. Then, you know, World Cup wasn't so great, but that was only vacation there. So what's happening with the Eras now?
Well, we had a pretty good indoor season. We had a great competition at the Wemby Namek with the new rules that they tried in France. It was really fun. We had tunnel planned and everything, but it's all. I mean, I was here on a ski trip with my wife and in Sweden, and I was flying to Belgium to train for the World Cup when everything locked down, and kind of got stuck in England for my roommate, my apartment in England. They're like, we need to turn this into a home office. Do you mind leaving? I was like, yeah, no problem. We got the van, and I was planning on going up into the national parks and just chilling out. But obviously things got really tight and all that got closed. So then I quarantined myself here in Sweden and just figured I'd come and stay with family where it was a little bit easier. So now I'm here. I'm out of the country until the travel bans get lifted, which is a little bit of an issue, but this was just a better place for me to ride this out. And like I said, they've got important proper jobs that they need to work. So we've got plans. I was supposed to be in Spain going there for the summer. We had a bunch of jumps planned, and now I don't know if Spain. We don't know. Like the plan would be for me to get back to England once things go, and once they're working it not from home, then I've got my apartment back and start training. We had a 250 jump year planned again. Looking forward to, you know, trying to kick up the speed and what we tried to do at the World Cup, but give us a year of training so we don't have all the busts and all that stuff. But yeah, we'll have to see. Everything's really up in the air for everybody.
All right, well, gentlemen, we have to come to an end. I hate to do that, but if you want to at least say the goodbye still to our audiences, then
thank you very much, Kurt.
We have to start with that. Now we have plenty to talk about still, and we'll come back to. Let's do that again next week, because you know because there's so many topics coming out of it, and updates will be coming from all kind of countries about qualifications, blah blah. So let's do that again next week.
Yeah, I have time. And I'm off for the next month.
So that'll be it. Zoom will shut me off now in about a few seconds probably. So thank you very much for.
Thank you, Kurt. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Joey. Hey, stay safe, my man.
And then hope to talk to you very soon again. Thanks again.